Children from fatherless homes in this country, 5 times more likely to commit suicide than children who have a father in the home. 32 times more likely to run away. 20 times more likely to have a behavioral disorder. 14 times more likely to become sexually aggressive or commit rape. 10 times more likely to engage in drug abuse. It just breaks my heart. No heat, no judgment.
A woman will open up and say, you know what, not having my father really is a problem, really is an issue. And I wish we could get more black women to just point out, wait a minute, it's not cool that your kids don't have that father. It's not cool that you didn't grow up with yours. It's not, I don't need no man. It's not fathers don't matter. It's not niggas ain't shit. It's actually we as a people, we as a culture, we as a community have to deal with each other. And in dealing with each other, if we're creating children, if we're having little innocent beings who only thing they know about themselves is what we present about ourselves. I don't know if that makes any sense to any of you guys. If you are a Jew and you know that you must be a doctor, a lawyer, or something like that, that matters. Your goal is higher. What you want to be in life is exalted. But if you think about what happens with us as black men, our goal in life is where? What do we have to look up to? Who do we have to look up to? Was our fathers impressive? Was our grandfathers impressive? It doesn't even matter what you say sometimes to your children. It's what you do. It's what you have. It's the presence you command. It's the maturity of how you deal with each other and deal with other people. And that's the biggest thing we need in the black community. Where does that start? To me, it's with fathers. If your man is confident, your man is proud. When your man is proud, he loves what he has. He protects what he has when he has these situations. And that's when you, as a woman, as a man, as a family, as a community, that's when we'll be better. When we actually care about each other. It starts with the fathers. It starts with the relationship and the children.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life. Ooh. And I'm feeling good. Y'all looking for me? Y'all looking for me? Well, here I is. Hey! Yeah, here I is. Yeah, here I is. Woo! Here I is one more again, about to do another show. We talking about racism and we don't know where it's gonna lead or what we're gonna do. But I hope that this show helps me and you to be better. That's what it's all about. a different version of yourself to scream and shout, to celebrate, because that's what you call getting. I don't know what else to say after that, but I was going. I'm so glad to be here with y'all on tonight, man. We about to get it in. We about to have a great show. I want to welcome everybody to the show. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I missed y'all. I hope y'all miss me. Y'all could have been anywhere else in the world, but you chose to be here with me, and I appreciate that. Let's get into this and do what we came to do. All right. Without further ado, I'm going to move the show along so we can do what we want to do. Hey, there we go. All right, y'all. Without further ado, let me I want to dive right in and get to my favorite part of the show. Yes, indeed, which is my lovely wife. But first, well, we could do this first and then we'll do that part. Let's do this. Mm-hmm.
Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
You know what? I forgot to do this thing real quick, and I want to check my sound. I've been meaning to do this at the beginning of the show just to make sure that it's good, and I always forget because I'm telling y'all, man, it's so much to do at the beginning and during the show, and it's like when you're putting all this stuff together and you're trying to do what it is you came to do, it's really hard. I'm just telling you, it's so much going on. But I think that, oh yeah, I think it sounds good. Hey, I think I sound good. So I hope that it is. Yeah, let me just make sure my levels is right. Y'all can hear me all good. I hope it stay good. And if something goes left, hopefully I'll catch it. But I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and do my thing. So let me first and foremost give a shout out or a salute to the first person in the chat, which was none other than, wait, where's it at? DJ Matt121. What's happening, buddy? My man DJ Just J-O-K. Yo, what up, what up? My man BR. Hello. Athena Osborne, how you been? Seems like I ain't seen you in a while. I don't know what's that all about, but welcome back. Young Booty Man. Goddamn. Shout out to you. The Fractal Curve High Stepper, Tall Stranger, what's good? My brother from another mother like no other. My main man, Eric Abrams. What up with it, broski? What up, Brielle? Hold on, let me tell you. Dude, I swear that video that you sent me, I almost came this close to putting this show off and doing the other one, but I had so much of this prepared already, and it would have took me so long to prepare the other one. I'm doing that video. Don't even worry about that. I appreciate that. And to everybody that sent me stuff, my wonderful wife, of course, she always send me stuff. My sister April, my boy, my homeboy, Riders, he sent me stuff. My man Greg, he sent me stuff. Everybody that just sent me stuff, I appreciate it. A lot of stuff I be seeing already, but I do appreciate the fact that you guys are sending it to me. If you guys just want to send me something, please feel free to. If it's show worthy, I will definitely do it. But yeah, I just want to give a shout out to everybody that sends me stuff. My brother George, he send me stuff all the time. So I just want to say thank you. I appreciate it. But just, yeah, if you got something that you want to send me, email me at therelationshiprehab@gmail.com and I'll take a look. Let's see, my man Michael Panicella, greetings. Tom Leach, what's up? And let's see, who's that? 40 ounce Mickey's. God damn. I hope your mic don't start cracking so loud tonight, almost blowing my damn ears out. I know. Look, y'all, let me tell y'all something. I know that people. Let me just give you this. Let me just say this. If y'all see something in my show that is bad, it's terrible, it's fucked up, charge it to my head and not my heart. I don't know all this shit, and I'm trying my best. I had somebody literally like send me something in the comment section talking to me about my sound. My sound is not the best. Is not, it ain't the worst, but it ain't the best. And I've been trying to work it out. Hopefully tonight I did some tweaking. Hopefully tonight it'll be good, but I'm trying because it's hard for me because I'm so passionate about my show and what I'm doing. I be so into it that sometimes my mic will be distorted because my voice gets so loud and you'll get that static. But hopefully I tweaked it enough to where it's good. Because before I was so afraid of it doing that, I had everything pretty much turned down and people couldn't hear me. So it was like people were saying they couldn't hear me, but I know that ain't a problem no more because I got that shit turned up right now. But hopefully I tweaked it a little bit, turned a few things down, and hopefully it's good. But I'm a work in progress, y'all. But just, hey, if you don't just, I tell you this though, motherfuckers, let me tell y'all this. Don't just tell me some shit and you ain't got no goddamn advice or no motherfucking solutions. If you gonna get on my shit, you gonna crack on my shit, you better be cracking with some solutions. Say, look, man, your sound like a piece of shit, but here's how you can fix it. I'm all good with that. That's called constructive criticism. If you just putting on my comment section talking about your sound sucks, fuck you and your sound, then I'm gonna say to hell with you. I ain't trying to hear that shit. But please, 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 as James Brown would say, if you got any tips for me, let me know. I'm open to them. I'm trying to do the best I can with what I got. And hey, I'm trying. So just let me know if you got something for me that can help sound better, look better, whatever the case may be. He said, yell into it one time. All right, I'm yelling into it right now, and hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's good. I don't see it peaking or nothing, so hopefully that works. So yeah, you let me know. But this show here that I did, I had watched some of these clips before. Some of y'all have seen them before, and I saw a video that kind of like had them all into it, all into one. And then there was another part to this, which was about the N-word. And I have done the N-word, a show about just the word nigga before. And I said, well, I kind of wanted to tie it all together with everything that's going on in today's world, with the times being so racially charged. Everything is about racism. Everything is a racist. You get canceled if you're a racist. If you don't agree with black folks, you're a racist. If you don't say you're sorry to black people, you're racist. All of these different things that are coming about as far as racism is concerned. And it kind of got me to thinking to say, I wanted to revisit this in a different perspective. And what I thought about was just saying this. I'm not one of those people that don't acknowledge that there is some biasness that has occurred based on skin color. There is a prejudice that some people have, certain, prejudice that people may have based on color. But I wanted to take a look at the racism part and the N-word part, and I wanted to really look at them in today's time because I don't think it's fair if we're trying to fix this thing. I don't think it's fair for us to harp on the past. I think it's good to acknowledge the past. I think it's good to learn from the past, but to harp on it and to always bring it up, because every time you talk to a nigga, the first thing out their mouth is we built this country and it's 400 years. And those are the things that I'm like, okay, yeah, but is that really relevant today? And that's what I want to try to get in this discussion. Is racism and the N-word as relevant as it was back in, let's just go back 60 years. Let's just go back 60 years. So 60 years will put us around what? The 60s, right? Yeah, 60 years will put us back around the 60s. So when you're talking about the 60s and when you're talking about saying, well, what was the 60s like? Or the 50s, all right? Let's say 70 years. When you look at that time and you progress over the years, over the decades, and you get up to this day, is nigga still the same nigga it was back in the 50s? in the 60s? Is racism the same as it was? Now I know some of my pro-black, Nation of Islam, Black Hebrew, super woke people are gonna say, yeah, my brother, the racism is just it's the same slavery, just on a different plantation. They're gonna come with some shit like that, but that's not what I'm trying to get to. I'm literally wanting to compare, is nigga the same as it was back in the 50s and 60s? Is racism the same as it was back in the 50s and 60s like it is today? Because I'm daring to say that it's not, and I'm even daring enough to say that maybe to some degree it has kind of changed and progressed to where things have gotten better. And you're gonna say, well, how you gonna say that? Why are you gonna say that? And let's talk about it. And that's pretty much where we're gonna go. So looking at this, if you guys have not seen this, this was pretty eye-opening to me. And this was an interview that Don Lemon had with Morgan Freeman. And Morgan Freeman, his approach, it was kind of like one of those things that really made me think and made me say, wow, he's coming at this shit a whole different way. And he's looking at it in a whole different way. And he made some very valid points. And it kind of inspired me to say, well, damn, maybe we should have a different conversation about race, about colorism, racism, the N word, and all of that. So that's why we're here. I need to turn on my fan. Hold up. Wait. I'm going to start this real quick. And then we're going to get on into this. But first, let me clear my throat.
Do you think that race plays a part in wealth distribution, or either a mindset that you can't?
Today?
You're not, yeah.
No.
You don't?
No, I don't. Hey, you and I, we're proof. Why would race have anything to do with it? Put your mind to what you want to do and go for that. It's kind of like religion to me. It's a good excuse for not getting there.
Where are we in the United States of America in race relations and what you see from data?
So just taking that piece right there, what he said, I kind of agree and I kind of disagree.
Do you think that race plays a part in wealth distribution, or either a mindset that you can't?
Today?
You're not, yeah.
No.
You don't?
No, I don't. Hey, you and I, we're proof.
And he said him and Don Lemon are proof. So it's like when you're talking about the proof that they get as far as is it still the same when he talks about wealth distribution? So here's kind of like what he means when he's talking about wealth distribution. Wealth begets wealth. It does. And when you have people, now you can have people that can create a particular you can create your own lane. I'm gonna say that first. You can do that. You can create your own lane. And you can create your own lane by seeing a need and filling the need, basically understanding the market, what people want, and actually, creating something that people want, even sometimes when they don't know that they want it, and giving it to them, and they're able to, take that thing that you present, and it becomes so useful and such a powerful part of your life that you become dependent on it, which grows your a particular niche in the market, i.e. what Apple has done. Apple went from computers, and they did great computers, and there were computers that were out, but the concept and the idea of the iPod, it revolutionized, and it revolutionized technology, but it gave people something that we didn't know we really wanted. And once they showed it to us, it was something not only that we wanted, but we even felt that we needed it, to the point to where we are dependent on it. I cannot begin to tell you what I would do if I did not have my iTunes. I bought one of the first. When they came out with the HP color display iPod 60 gigs, I bought it. I bought it because the idea of having all at that point in time, it was like all like 8,000 plus songs that I had downloaded to my computer through Napster and what was the other one? What were the other downloading joints? It was Napster, BearShare. What was the main one? LimeWire. All of the songs that I had pirated, matey, and downloaded to my computer, they were great listening to them at home. I even had and this was before it was popular. I had my home theater system, I had a Bose home theater system back in 2002, 2000 maybe. And I had hooked up the computer, I bought a long ass USB cable and an external sound card. And I had it hooked up to where my computer was playing my music that I had downloaded through my home theater system through this external sound card. And it was like, that was great at home. I could play, I could DJ, I could make all kinds of shit. I was doing it. But the idea and the concept of the iPod to say, well, shit, I could put on these headphones and have my entire music library in my hand. It was like, shit, I didn't know I really wanted that. And now that I know that I have it, I need it. I can't live without it. I went and I took my iPad everywhere. I had the first MP3 player that I bought was one of those creative they had a creative one that was kind of like an iPod. Only thing about that was the software on it was terrible and it was glitchy to where it would have to rebuild the database in it and you would like lose all of your music and then you'd have to wait for it to download all that music back onto this little hard drive that was in there all over again because it was like a hard drive that was spinning and you couldn't really move it around too much. It was whack as shit. But the iPod was definitely something that revolutionized and it changed it and it made us dependent. It made me dependent on it. I love having access to my iTunes library everywhere I go. On my phone, wherever. If I'm looking for something, I got it. It's there. So when you can create a market that way, that's a way that you can generate wealth by giving something somebody that nobody even thought about or thought they would need or thought they would want. However, when we're talking about wealth distribution, there is a thing of being put on by wealthy people. There just is. I mean, the fact that, if I got money and you my friend, or if I got money and we business partners and you have an idea and you know somebody who has collateral, I'm actually investing in you distributing wealth. It's easier for me to be a millionaire or billionaire or whatever, to have money and to have you as my, potential partner and to say, hey, I'm going to talk to the banks for you or because I got money. I got money and I'm a businessman and you don't have no money, but you have a great idea. Then that's the wealthy distributing wealth amongst people, but I'm putting you on. A person who don't have access to wealth, who don't have access to money, it's harder to get access to capital. It just is. Whereas if you have somebody or somebody that can put you on, you can get put on. Now, some people may call that privilege. I just call it pretty much, well, it is privilege to a degree, but it's just being put on by your man. I can't tell you how many things I've gotten access to because I knew somebody. I can't tell you how many things I've got, and that is privilege. And we always talk about white privilege. We always talk about, there is a thing, and I'm telling you right now, I will always be one of those people that says, yes, white privilege exists. So does black privilege. So does Hispanic privilege. So does Asian privilege. It all exists. It exists amongst those people in that group. Jews look out for Jews. Blacks look out for blacks to some degree. Whites look out for whites. It's just that they're the majority. Hispanics look out for Hispanics. They do. What we would call looking out for or hooking up, it's actually privilege. It just is. Now, because they're in a different position, because there are more white people in positions of power, in positions of ownership, to where they have more leeway, they have more privilege, they have more resources, then it does definitely, it don't look like it. It is lopsided, but that's because of the way that they're playing the game and the way the game is set up. It just is. So it's like, to what he's saying, yes, you do, and you can make it your way. You can make a way out of no way. You absolutely can. However, based on your privilege that you may have amongst your group, that way can be made for you a whole lot easier.
Why would race have anything to do with it? Put your mind to what you want to do and go for that.
And he's right about that. We have this thing to where we want to make sure, we want it to be where somebody gives us something, or somebody hands us something, or somebody makes a way for us. And that's one of my biggest things with all of these things that's going on, as far as the Black Lives Matter. Everybody's talking about everything racial, all of these companies bending down and saying, yeah, we're going to, or not bending down, bending over, if you will, and saying, yeah, we're going to give this to more people of color. We're going to do this for more people of color. The thing is this: if you really want to cure racism, if you really want to get rid of, and you really want equality, then you have to do for yourself. Just like white people do. Just like Asians do. Just like Hispanics do. Just like Jewish people do. Everybody does for their own first, which is why we're the only ones screaming. And when you look at the pecking order of people that are complaining about that, who's the first ones? Blacks. We want people to give us stuff. We want people to give this and give that. Then who's next? Hispanics. The brown people need to get this too. We want to get over here too. We want to come in this country too. We want to be over here too. Then after that, who do you have? The LGBTQs. We want to be able to say what we want, be what we want, do what we want, and you have to take it. You have to acknowledge it. You have to be. It's that thing of saying, if you want to have your own, you have to invest in your own. You just do. You have to invest in your own thing. You can't make me give you what you want. And I think that there was a time where you couldn't get access just simply because of the color of your skin. Everywhere. Everywhere. There was a time where you did not have access just because you was black. Yes, I agree. I don't think we're there today. Do I think there's still people that think that way? Yeah, but you can't change everybody's mind. Think about that. Think about that. Let's just take a look at what we're saying. We want equality and we want to end and stop racism. How do you do that? How do I change a behavior that is taught? How do I change a behavior that is taught in homes that I do not have access to? It's impossible. It is literally impossible to say we're going to cure racism, and racism is going to be, or some type of discrimination, it's always going to be that way. And a lot of times, the thing that I don't like about us always focusing on racism is because our biggest problem as a people, not black folks, just as a people, our biggest problem when it comes to inequality, our biggest problems when it comes to oppression, injustice, and all of that, it is rooted in classism, not racism. Racism is checkers. Classism is chess. I'm going to say that one more time. Anytime you talking about racism, you talking about checkers, a simple game, a simple-minded game, a simple man's game. Chess is a complex game. That's classism. Classism, their first line of defense is to get you to focus on racism. Hear that? Just hear that shit. Listen. Classism's first line of defense is to keep those that have not focused on racism. If I don't want you playing my game, what's the best way to keep you from playing my game? Not to not let you play, not to tell you that you can't play, but to give you your own game. If I give you a totally different game to play, here, play this game. This is really your problem. This is the game you should play right here. Meanwhile, I'm over here winning and making moves on this game, which affects that game. It's like being a team in the NFL that's 0-10, and you're focused or you're worried about the season and winning 6 more games after you done lost 10, where everybody else is getting ready for the playoffs. Everybody else is in the playoffs, and you worried about the last 6 games of the season after you've already lost 10. If it's 16 games and you done lost 10, you ain't going to the playoffs. You're not even going to the playoffs. You don't have a chance at the playoffs. But as opposed to you trying to get your team better, you're focused on saying, well, we're going to play hard. We're going to try to win these last 6 games. Sometimes you need to just say, well, you know what? The season's over. Let's put our younger talent out there. Let's start our rookie quarterback. Let's put our younger talent out there. Let's save up and rest up some of our veterans that are going to be with us next year. And let's hold them back a little bit, give them fewer reps so that we can preserve their health, and let the younger guys go out there so that they can develop to make us a better team for next year. That's chess. That's chess. When you're making moves and you're planning and preparing for next year because you know that this season is lost, just like teams that tank their seasons once they realize they can't make the playoffs, and they tank their season to get a higher pick in the draft. That's chess. That's all I'm saying.
It's kind of like religion to me. It's a good excuse for not getting there.
Where are we in the United States of America in race relations and what you see from day to day in your life?
Skip, they wouldn't want to ask me that. They wouldn't want my answer to represent it because God knows I have been nothing but blessed. My whole path, these 33 years have been nothing but a blessing. I have never, and never is a strong word, I've never dealt with racism, and I'm glad I didn't have to.
Now, when he first said it, I was kind of taken aback, but then I had to realize Wayne been rapping since he was like fucking, 11 to 12 years old or some shit like that? And Wayne literally grew up like when Wayne was in high school, Wayne was fucking rich. He wasn't wealthy, but he was rich. Wayne had money in high school. Wayne had money. I mean, I was like, what the fuck Wayne talking? I was like, Wayne, how you? And I had to really think about it. And Wayne literally had money in high school. If you ever get to watch his story or hear him talk about his story and how he, came into the game and all that kind of stuff, he even said at one point he was going to school. And Wayne is, and mind you this, Wayne is highly intelligent. Highly intelligent. That dude's IQ is off the scale. Wayne is very, very intelligent. People think all that young boy, baby. Y'all talk all that shit and all that. The block is hot. The block is hot, hot. All that shit is all fine and dandy. But aside from that, Wayne is very, very smart. Very smart. Like genius level smart. But the fact that he actually has that reality of saying, growing up, I didn't have, the white man telling me I couldn't get no job. I didn't have no this person doing this to me or that person doing that to me because I was black. He didn't have that. He didn't have that experience because he literally went from rich to wealthy to where money ain't a thing for him. So he literally is doing whatever he wants. Wayne has financial freedom to where ain't nobody, telling him nigga go home. He ain't got to worry about that kind of stuff. Wayne is in a position to where he won't experience that because of his class. See how that works? When you become a have, when you're not a have not no more and you a have, racism is a checkers game. It's a checkers game. He has transitioned to chess. He ain't playing checkers. So he doesn't have that same experience that some people who are, hey man, the white man, the system is this systemic racism, all of those things. He's not experiencing that because he's on a different level, on a different game.
There is a class of colored people who make a business of keeping the troubles, the wrongs, and the hardships of the Negro race before the public. Some of these people do not want the Negro to lose his grievances because they do not want to lose their jobs.
Did you hear that? So he's saying that there are jobs tied into perpetuating the idea of racism. And I said, wow. Think about it. Think about it. If we didn't believe in racism anymore, if we truly just let racism be a thing to where it just dies out and we stop talking about it, we stop being concerned about it, we stop being the ones that's at the center of it, saying that there's this and this inequality for this and inequality for that, we had our own. What would be the need for Black Lives Matter? What would be the need for NAACP? What would be the need for these things? What would be the need for these particular institutions that are literally based on equality, equal rights, and all that kind of stuff? Has a point.
There is a certain class of race problem solvers who don't want the patient to get well. That was said by Booker T. Washington.
How are we going to get rid of racism until...
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man.
Is that possible? I think what Morgan Freeman said right there is the pin that is in the grenade that can actually destroy or blow up racism. I believe that right there is the pin to pull in the grenade to blow up racism.
It's frustrating to me that people take...
I'm going to stop calling you
the patient to get well. That was said by Booker T. Washington.
How are we going to get rid of racism until...
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man.
I had to really take a moment and ingest that. I really did. I chewed on it for a while and I ingested it. And I said, holy shit, he's right. Now, will that cure racism to stop talking about it? Nope, that's not what he's saying. What he's saying is, if we stop talking about it, that's the beginning part of it being destroyed. If we stop making that thing a thing, it goes away. It goes away. Look at it like this. The issues that we see, the things that we don't have that others have. When you talk, let's go kind of macro. Let's talk about things like athletes, or let's talk about sports. How many black owners in sports do we have? People that own teams outright. How many Robert Krafts are black? How many Robert Krafts are Hispanic? How many Robert Krafts are Asian? None. What's keeping them from being that? They got to be voted in. They got to be vetted and all that good stuff. Same thing in the NBA and all that good stuff. The Jerry Reinsdorf. So if you get together enough financial capital to get the lobbyists, to get those people that are in those positions, and you actually buy your way into what it is that you want, it can be done. When you make moves like Jay-Z, it's the beginning. People talk all that trash about Jay-Z this, he's so loud, he ain't get Cap no job. And I swear for God, if I hear one more nigga talk about Cap getting a job, I am going to just scream, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. But it's not going to be a thing where you just show up, I want to own a team. And they just say, oh, okay, come on, fill out this application, here you go. That's not it. That's not how it's going to happen. But you have to chip away at the block. You have to. Like Magic Johnson tried. Magic Johnson tried. Nope. But you start by doing what? Getting little pieces here and there. Whether it's a 2% piece or a 10% piece or a 20% piece. Look at Jay-Z in the NFL. Look at Jay-Z with the Nets. And then here's what Jay-Z did. He started his own sports management company. So now Jay-Z is getting a hold of athletes that are signing with him. And those athletes are top tier athletes. If all of the top tier athletes decided to go with one black man's company, that puts him in a position of power. That puts that company in to have that leverage to say, hey, look here, y'all. Y'all want my boy to come play. Y'all want my guys to come play. Y'all want my girl to come play for y'all. I need to get in. I want my own team. Such and such is selling. I want to buy. Next team that comes up, I want in on it. That's what it is. That's when you have leverage. When you're talking about saying, hey, look, I can get you this player, but when it comes time for me to vote if I get a team or not, I need your vote. That's how deals get done. That's how deals get made. That's just what it is. It's what, 32 teams or 34 teams? That's how you get in the door. All of the things that we talk about saying, well, they don't get no black folks doing this. Ain't no black folks doing that. You want a black coach? You want a black offensive coordinator? You want a black defensive coordinator? Get you a black owner. You want a black quarterback? Get you a black owner. And here's the thing. I'm telling you one thing. This is one of the reasons why it's so hard and they don't want to let a black person get an NFL team, because you know what's going to happen? Naturally, niggas going to want to play for the black team, for the black franchise. They just are. They just are. They going to want to say, man, shit, I want to go play for such and such. Now you get all of the you talking the cream of the crop, all of the talent that's in the NFL. Everybody sees Jay-Z owning the Carolina Panthers or whatever, the Chicago Bears or whatever, over McCaskey's dead body, but I know, I'm just saying. But when you see that, that's attractive to athletes. So when it comes down to saying, hey, look, Jay-Z can pay us 10 million for 2 years. The Bengals can pay us 12 million for 2 years. I think I want to go play for Jay-Z for the Bears. I'm speaking that. Jay-Z owning the Bears. Just saying, because it puts us in a position where now I have more leverage because we are like-minded. Just something to think about.
Oh, it's frustrating to me that people take race and they make it personal. You know what I mean? Like we're at a loss.
Tom Leach says, if we're being honest, owning a sports team is an incredibly risky investment. In what league? I would hope that black people who had to earn their money don't get them because they are vanity projects. Time out. Let's pull over for a second. You tell me, Tom, which NFL team owner is struggling? I'm going to go out here on a limb and say every NFL team, every NFL owner is without a doubt a multi-billionaire. So how you're talking about this vanity project and it's incredibly risky, you tell me what NFL team has went bankrupt to where they couldn't pay their players and they just lost. It was a total money pit that they ain't profiting from. I'm going to wait for this. Look here. Everybody may not be the Cowboys, but even the Cleveland Browns, the Bengals, the Dolphins, every last one of those teams in the NFL, even the goddamn Detroit Lions, as terrible of a franchise that they are, ain't none of them hurting for money. And I'm going to tell you like this. If they were bad investments, the NFL wouldn't be worth some $750 billion that it is worth. It wouldn't be. So vanity project, risky investment, whatever the hell you want to call it, there is not a person on the face of this earth that would not own an NFL team if they had the opportunity to. If they had the finances to where they even qualified to own an NFL team, ain't not nan one of them that'll say, oh, hell no. I don't want to own the Bears. Man, please. When they made the dude from the NBA forfeit his goddamn ownership, them motherfuckers was all chomping at the bit trying to get the fucking Clippers. And the Clippers ain't never won shit. Not almost, not back when, ain't never won shit. And everybody was chomping at the bit to get the Clippers. So, yeah. Let me see what he said. He said, that's just it. They have to be multi-billionaires in order to take a risk like that. The growth of the Dallas Cowboys was 4% last year. What billionaire wants to tie up $5 billion? A billionaire that fucking has it. That's all I'm saying. Everybody, look, it's like this. You have to play on the field that you qualify in. So no, somebody who got $800 million can afford to get $1 billion franchise, a multi-billion dollar franchise. No, you can't. But multi-billionaires, which there are plenty of, any multi-billionaire that had the opportunity to own an NFL team would do it, without a doubt. Ain't nobody in the NFL commissioner is not searching for potential owners. They are knocking at his door. Hey, commissioner, if you ever got an opportunity now, you know I'm here. That's what they're doing. Trust and believe. Vanity or whatever you want to call it, it's a hell of a thing to be in the NFL and to be an owner. Those 34 teams, to be one of those 34. It's an elite class. Like elite class trucking, it's elite class footballing. It's an elite class for a reason. That's why there's only 34 of them. So no, you can miss me with that one. That's not it's a risky and all that. Yeah, when you got that money to play, when you got that money to do that, that's what it is. You got it. When you got it, you got it. You can play in that field. You can play that game. Because and yes, fractal curve, they all look out and work together because they understand, hey, it's only 34 of us, but by our powers combined, You got to have winners and losers. You got to have rises and falls because that's a part of the game. Look at the Cubs, Major League Baseball team. Didn't win a World Series in over 100 years. Lost consistently for over 100 years. I think it was 104 or some shit like that. However, they are one of the richest and one of the most lucrative franchises in Major League Baseball. Why? Because they were one of the first. They have history. They have an incredible, arguably the greatest baseball experience, period, whether they win or lose. Anybody that knows anything about baseball knows you want to catch a Cubs game before you die. The atmosphere, the area, the vibe, whether the Cubs win or lose, it's like they won every day in Wrigleyville. Just what it is. But did not win for well over 100 years. And when they won, it was even more. It was so much insanity going on in the city. Just because they finally won. They were the lovable losers. So that's not vanity. That's business. And regardless of the thing about NFL, the thing about the sports, yeah, you can win and have dynasties and all of that, but it's all about just marketing to your fan base to where your fans love you. People love the motherfuckers in Cleveland love the Browns. The motherfuckers in Detroit love the Lions. Two shitty teams. Ain't never won nothing. Love them. Love them. So it's all about the market and what type of market you have. And like you said, they all help each other. They all work together to keep that market going because every team knows, hey, you're going to be down one day. So we all got to help each other. Just like the decline of the Steelers. Look at how the Steelers are. Steelers been sinking for a long time. Look at what happened to the Bears. It happens. It happens. Now you have those certain teams like the Yankees, you have those Cowboys, you have the Dodgers, or you have what's the other team in not the Dodgers, but the Yankees and the Boston Red Sox. You have those teams that just consistently find ways to win because they have the money and they have the capital, they have that winning attitude. The Lakers, they're gonna get the talent there to win. It is. Thank you, DJ Matt. It's insane at Wrigley Field every day, every game. Every game, every day is a great day at Wrigley Field. Whether they win 10-0 or they lose 2-20. It's always a great game. It's always a great experience and a great vibe. And after every game, win or lose, it's a party going on in Wrigleyville. Facts.
In this generation. If you look at it in the 80s, Archie Bunker was a stark racist. Stark. If you don't know who Archie Bunker is, look him up. All in the Family, great show. The Jeffersons, stark racist. Fred Sanford, stark racist. But you know what black people and white people did? They laughed. You watch 48 Hours with Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte. Both of them hated each other because he was black and because he was white. You know what they did? They laughed.
But I asked you what the racial breakdown was of your audience. Do you remember this? And you told me the only black face you could see in the whole audience.
So like and here's my thing. Here's what I would love for us to get back to. I would love for us to get back to where we as people can have our own indifferences and it's okay. Because if you ever watch the Jeffersons, the Bunkers, Archie Bunker, any of those shows, even on Fred Sanford and Son, they used the word nigga. And it was funny as shit. They talked about racism. They talked about race. They talked about biasness. And it was okay. And the reason why I loved it back then was because they were having the conversation. They were actually able to have a conversation. Every nigga that came out of somebody's word, every N-word that came out of somebody's mouth wasn't malicious. It wasn't, I hate you. It wasn't, I think that I'm better than you. It wasn't like that. It just wasn't. And I wish that we could get back to that so that we could have a conversation. This whole thing about our society and our culture now making things to where we can't talk to each other or say this word to each other and we say the word, which I'm going to get to shortly, it has to stop because we will never grow from that. We will never get past that until we're able to have a conversation and we're able to talk about that thing. Because if we don't talk about it, people, whether they don't say it or not, they say it in their homes. They say it at night. They whisper it to each other. They do. You think that white folks don't say the word nigga at home? You a goddamn fool. Whether they're saying it in a joke, whether they're saying it like, honey, come look at these crazy niggers. Whether they're saying it in a joking way or whether they're saying, I hate niggas. A nigga stole my car. A nigga stole my identity. Regardless of what context they're saying it in, it's still being said. When we can get to a point to where it can be said and it doesn't affect us, then it has no power.
Was your makeup artist. I believe that's what you said. She was in the front row, right? A lot of white kids love rap.
Yes.
Explain that. What does that say to you? What's the message of it? What's the bigger picture of it?
I don't want to be bashed because I don't want to sound like I'm on the wrong if there is a side, but I thought that was clearly a message that there was no such thing as racism. That's what.
You hear that? Play it one more time.
I don't.
Explain that. What does that say to you? What's the message of it? What's the bigger picture of it?
I don't want to be bashed because I don't want to sound like I'm on the wrong if there is a side, but I thought that was clearly a message that there was no such thing as racism. That's what I thought that was.
You know, I said, and it's probably get me in trouble, but I said to some of my colleagues recently, so I know that it's an issue, but it seems like every single day on television I'm talking about race, and it's because of the news cycle, it's in the news, but sometimes I get so tired of talking about it, I want to just go, this is over, can we move on?
And if you talk about it, it exists.
Right.
Yes.
It's not like it exists and we refuse to talk about it, but making it a bigger issue than it needs to be is the problem we have.
And right now, we are in a society.
Making it a bigger issue than what that's exactly what's happening. Every time we use because I'm black, because they white, the white man this, we are making an excuse for not being responsible for our part in something and just saying this is why it is. We blame it. We passing that buck. And he is right. When we want to take, if you want to, it's just like when you think about when you were in elementary school and you think about the kids that were not popular. Why were they not popular? How come the kids in high school weren't popular? You know how? Because the popular kids didn't talk to them, didn't give them any airtime. They got no attention, period. The people in the in crowd stayed where? With the people in the in crowd. If you were a nerd or a nobody knew you, you didn't have any special talents, you didn't stick out, you didn't have any type of gift of gab, you weren't a person who could talk. It was like, even with me, I was the fat kid in elementary school and in high school, but everybody knew me because I had the gift of gab. I could talk about somebody, crack jokes on anybody. You talking about jonesing? You talking about cagging? I was a king of comedy in high school. That's just plain and simple. That's what it was. When it came down to somebody walking around trying to talk about me, oh, here come Brian fat ass. Here come Brian fat ass. By the time I was a junior, sophomore, junior year, boy, niggas would not say shit about me. The only people that would try to talk about me would be my friends that I talked about every day. That's what I did. And it was one of those things to where I had the attention to where let me walk around and somebody say something. Oh, look who this fat motherfucker. Niggas would be like, dude, you need to shut up. You need to watch your mouth. This nigga will kill you. And we talking straight jokes. Straight up jokes. And that's what it was. I learned to be funny from my daddy, from my family. I learned to be funny, and I learned to say I can talk about anybody. It got to the point to where that shit Eminem did in 8 Mile, nigga, that was my intro. That was my intro. I will never forget. I was in history class. I can't remember the white dude's name. Cool as hell too. But I was in history class, and this was like in like the first couple of months of school started. And I come in the classroom, and you know I'm laughing. It was a dude in there that didn't know me, but he was on the what was that nigga? Was he on the baseball team or something? I don't know. I can't remember. But anyway, I walk in late. This motherfucker like man, look at that fat motherfucker. And I heard it, and I was like, what? I said, okay, this nigga don't know who I am. He was like, nigga, you heard me with your fat ass. I said, okay, nigga, let's go ahead. Let's do this. Yes, I'm fat. Yup, I'm big. Yup, I'm fat. Yup, I walk and everybody say boom, boom, boom. But, nigga, why your shoes look like Pringles? Sit the whole classroom up. Niggas was like, even the teacher was laughing. He was laughing his ass off. Niggas was like, nigga, don't fuck with Brian. That nigga is funny. That nigga get on your ass, nigga. I went and just, man, I rolled that nigga. To the point where that nigga was mad as hell and wanted to fight me. The nigga got to the point where like, nigga, I'm a motherfucking vice lord. I'll whoop your ass. Nigga, the vice lord was like, nigga, you ain't gonna do shit. On the real. Nigga, you ain't doing shit. That shit ain't going down. That's what it was. It's like I had the gift of gab to where it didn't matter if I was fat, black, short, tall, whatever the case may be. I was able to make a way and get in my own lane because I was able to be funny. Just like somebody who can sing, even though I can do that too, but even somebody who can sing, or more commonly, your athletes. That dude that's on the basketball team could be dumb as a box of rocks. Dumb as fuck. But he can hoop. That's his end. That's his thing. That's what gets him in the in crowd. That's what gets him in the in crowd. It's like when you can do those type of things, it puts you in a different class because people are going to notice you. People are going to talk about you. If you don't have something that is as attention getting as that, like if you are extremely good at math, that's not one of those things that is considered to be popular. That's not one of those things that's considered to be attention getting. You will actually be shunned for being extremely good at math. Why? Because most people aren't. It's just like when you have people that are very smart but play dumb so they can be cool in school. Did that rhyme? Yes, it did. I should be a rapper. It's the same thing. So I'm saying all of that to get to his point and to just solidify what Morgan Freeman was saying to validate it. If you don't give a thing attention, that thing will wither and die. If we stop calling out racism, shouting this is racist, you a racist, he a racist, she a racist, we some racist, wouldn't you like to be a racist too? If we stop saying that, it would diminish it. It would make it to the point to where it's not a thing because we're not making it a thing. Ooh-wee. Did you ever think about that? Think about it, that racism is a thing because we make it a thing. Because we insist on it being a thing. Because we perpetuate it being a thing. Do you realize that one person in a public setting could literally send up an entire group of people? An entire group of people in a public setting can be outraged and infuriated by saying the N-word if he's the wrong color. If I'm in a crowded area and I say, "What up, nigga?" People gonna look and be like, "Do you hear this nigga over here? Do you see this nigga? Is that nigga talking to me? Who is that nigga? What up, nigga? Oh, there go my nigga." That's what's gonna happen. A white person says the same thing. "Hey, what up, nigger? What up, my nigga?" Outrage. People ready to fight them, kill them, stomp them, beat them, kill them, shank them, stab them, shoot them, fight them, bite them, whatever. Two people, different color, saying the same word, and they could even be saying it in the same context. But the energy that we give to that word when somebody of a different color says it is a problem. I'm just telling you, just think about what I'm saying. And it was like, this was so enlightening to me. That's why I wanted to have this conversation, because it just really connected a lot of dots to me as far as racism.
Well, we can't have a conversation because no one's willing to listen.
People are just shouting.
People are just
Whatever
shouting. People are walking down the street, hashtagging everything, but no one's listening.
Using wrong examples to present an argument leads us nowhere forward. I understand the emotion, and I respect my opposition, but when you go into the areas of making false charges and living in the past, you do not address the issues of the present.
And, you know, incarceration rates in America has been a problem, especially as opposed to minorities. And Roman delves into the issues around the legal system. Do you think we've made any headway in
I think it's more important to make headway in our own house. By the time the system comes into play, the damage is done. They're not locking up 7-year-olds.
In the 1960s, 80...
Facts.
+% of blacks were two-parent homes. Today, that is reversed completely the other way.
I was in Chicago a couple of 3-4 weeks ago, and we saw these little kids on bikes with masks.
And Tommy did a really good video about this, talking about Denzel Washington and how Denzel Washington is listening to Tommy too. I truly believe that. No, but I'm gonna let this go ahead and play. Everybody, let me say this. And I don't know how I would feel if I was him, to just have to acknowledge not to acknowledge, but to know that so many people listen to this dude, so many people use this dude's talking points and don't give him the credit. It would probably drive me insane. I would probably spend my time talking about them motherfuckers that's doing it, as opposed to actually doing what it is I do, because I would lose it. People saying what it is that you're saying, and you know that you're the one that said it, and you're right, and the fact that they're using it and then they're getting kudos off of saying what you said first, man, that's some straight bullshit. Which is why I always try to make sure that I salute that brother and I say, hey, I got this from him. I acknowledge Brother Tommy Sotomayor. I do. Because the motherfucker is right. He's right. It don't get no righter. But shout out to my boy.
Masks on the side of their head, like 5 or 6 of them. And the driver said, yeah, they're little yummies. I said, who? He said, little yummies. Look up, Google Lil Yummy. Lil Yummy was an 11-year-old murderer.
Wow.
And you look at his picture, you'll see the headshot of him, and he's like this. And he got murdered at 11 by a 14-year-old.
Wow.
Who's doing life now, and a 16-year-old.
That makes no sense.
You blame the system? Where was his father?
No one wants to talk about perception when it comes to racial profiling. No one wants to talk about stereotypes when it comes to racial profiling.
Blacks are convinced that the #1 issue facing the country right now is social justice, racist white cops, discrimination, systemic racism, microaggression, whatever new word they come up with, and it's a bunch of nonsense.
This is what I know. I'm a certified scuba diver. My first day of class, they told me this. When you're in shark-infested waters, everything in that water is considered a threat until proven otherwise. If it's a guppy, it could be a shark. until you know it's a guppy. And I think as black men, we need to realize we're in shark-infested waters. And if we don't sit our young men down and we don't talk to them about perception, if we don't talk to them about stereotypes, we're doing them a huge disservice.
It starts in the house. It starts in the home. And yeah, well, my father got locked up. Well, where was his father?
Yeah.
You know, like I did talk about my 3 closest friends, and they.
Is this the way you put in the cheap plug for Fatherless America? Go watch and download or view Fatherless America.
They did, 15 to 25. One did 28, this and that. I was the only one of the 3 that had a father in my life, even though my parents were together. But I still had a father who was a gentle man and a good example, and they didn't. We can blame the system if we want, but they didn't lock any of us up at 7.
Yeah.
We were all doing enough to get locked up at 13. My parents sent me in another direction. They didn't have anybody to help them, and they kept doing what they was doing, and the system got them. So I don't, the system is rigged, but why, all the more reason not to help it.
It's the number one problem.
And I will say this. My father and my mother split up when I was 3. And my father moved like literally right around the corner from me. I cannot tell you how valuable that was and how beneficial it was for me to have my daddy around the corner. As a grown man looking back over my life, the things that my father taught me and the things that my father showed me about life, being a young man, being a black man, all of those things, even there were so many things I didn't get back when I was little, but as I became an adult and as I got older as a man, I connected those dots. He left me the breadcrumbs to follow to where I could be a better person. And it's one of those things to where, my daddy, and this is one of the reasons why I give him such kudos, my daddy didn't have a daddy. Did not have a daddy. Like from day one, he didn't have a daddy. And it was like the way that he did things wasn't perfect by no stretch of the imagination, but he did the best he could with what he had and what he knew. And he knew what he didn't want us to be. And he instilled a lot of that in us. And not to mention what I learned from my mother and just watching that whole dynamic and over the years. And once I became an adult to get the truth from both sides, it enlightened me to be a better father, husband, because I'm not perfect either, but it put me in a position to where I was able to be a flower that could be grown. I was able to grow. I was in a good enough, pot. I was in good enough potted soil to where I could blossom and grow and learn and in an environment where I could do that. And had my father not prepared me and gave me those things that he did give me, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I just wouldn't be. So it's like those fathers that are not in the picture at all, it's a clear sign of the deficit of those fathers not being there in our children today. Whether they in jail, whether they dead, whether they a no-show, it's a clear indicator as to why we're in the situation that we're in today. Clear indication, because I can see it from my perspective, from the pieces of a father that I had, the fraction of a father that I had. It wasn't a little piece, but I had a good deal. Had my father lived with me, had my father been in the same house with me every day, I'd be so much further along in life. I just would. I just would have been. I would have been so much further along in life. There are so many things that I would not have gone through that if my dad would have been in the house and would have just, my parents would have stayed together and been in that house together, and my daddy would have been doing right and all that stuff, I would have been such a better man. My brother and my sister would have been better people. They just would have been, because we would have had both dynamics in the house working together. I can clearly see the difference in myself and my brother because one of us stayed with my father. My brother moved with my dad when he was like 15 or 16. 16, I want to say. And I can see the difference in how we was raised and the things that he got from my dad that he didn't get from my mom. And I can see the things that I got from my mom that I didn't get from my dad because I wasn't there every day. I can clearly see it. Clearly see it. And that's a huge, 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 as Trump would say, huge, huge cornerstone in becoming a man and a woman becoming a woman. My sister suffered immensely because she was the oldest from my daddy not being there. Paying for it right now today. Right now today, suffer from it. So it's like when we talking about how do we fix it? Well, me ain't got to step up. Nah. We have to start telling our young people, stop having kids with ain't shit niggas, and niggas stop getting ain't shit bitches pregnant. The ain't shit people will always be amongst us. What they say in the Bible? The poor will be amongst you always. The ain't shit will be amongst us always. We have to start choosing not to procreate with those. Sleep with them, fuck them, hang out with them, bang them, all that shit you want to do, fine. Stop procreating with them. Because sheep beget sheep. Ain't shit motherfuckers beget ain't shit motherfuckers. Whether it's their intention or not. The odds of somebody being born from an ain't shit mother or an ain't shit father and not having those traits and not suffering from that, they are slim to none. So that one motherfucker that said, yeah, my mama was an ain't shit bitch, but I turned out to be great. Fine. That's not the majority. The one or two exceptions to the rule does not make it the rule.
Problem domestically facing this country is a breakdown of the family. And President Obama said it. I didn't. A black kid, or kid, not just a black kid, a kid raised without a dad is 5 times more likely to be poor and commit crimes, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, and 20 times more likely to end up in jail. So you're far more likely to end up in jail without having a dad than you are because of a white racist cop.
Prime example.
Boom! Now, how can somebody deny that? How can you debate that? You can't. It's a solid fucking fact. One more again.
And President Obama said it. I didn't. A black kid, or kid, not just a black kid, a kid raised without a dad is 5 times more likely to be poor and commit crimes, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, and 20 times more likely to end up in jail. So you're far more likely to end up in jail without having a dad than you are because of a white racist cop.
Prime example. I got pulled over by the police, come over to my window, flash his light in my face, hand on my pistol. I can handle that 2 ways. I can start yelling and screaming and tell him he a racist and he don't know me. You doing this wrong. Or I can say, yes, officer, no, officer, or we done, officer. And both of them are going to have drastically different outcomes.
Now, here's my thing, because people will look at that and be like, oh, see, that's some punk ass shit. See, you shouldn't have to do that as a man. You should be a man, Joe, and should no white, racist, punk ass cop be able to tell. Hold on. Ain't nobody saying that what you saying ain't right. But you can't say that what he's saying is wrong. You tired of racist ass cops? Become one. Not a racist ass cop, but become a police officer. You tired of white police treating you bad, pulling you over when you ain't did nothing? Then start policing your own neighborhoods. Become the police and work in your neighborhoods. That's simple. It's not complicated. It's not complex. The odds of, do you realize that you are more likely to change a racist police department by becoming a police than marching and walking up and down the streets to stop the police and to change the way racist white police think? Just think about that. You are more likely to change and to fix the police department from the inside being the police than you are from marching up and down the streets outside. You want to know how I know? Look at the past 60 years. We still talking about white racist cops like we was talking back in the 50s, like we was talking in the 60s, like we was talking in the 70s, like we was talking in the 80s, like we was talking in the 90s, like we was talking in the 2000s, like we was talking in the 2010s, and now we're in the 2020s. Same exact shit. Why not saturate that thing that you don't like? Why not infiltrate that thing that is against you? It ain't like they kicking black folks off the force. It ain't like they saying, you black, you can't be the police. No colors in this department. We passed them days. And that gets back to my point about saying racism ain't what it was back then like it is today. It's not. We are able to circumvent this system. We choose not to because we want somebody to give it to us. Why not become the police? Why not become lawyers? Why not become congressmen? Why not become state representatives? Why not become mayors? Why not become governors? You can't get in there because the vote. No, we can't get in there because you niggas won't vote. That's why we can't get in there. We can't get in there because we believe we can't get in there. We can't get in there because we won't even attempt or try to solidify ourselves to be able to get in there. When was the last time you voted for a sheriff in your community and said, look, sheriff, we're going to vote for you, but we want a black deputy sheriff. So when your ass retire, he can become the sheriff. When was the last time you said, we're going to all vote for a black sheriff? Black sheriff you want, just like in Chicago. Tom Dart is the sheriff of Cook County. Why would you have Tom Dart come and show up at your churches, come and show up at your community events, come and show up at your back to school rallies and all that shit? Why would you have him come there and you say, Tom Dart gonna do this for us? He gonna help get us out. Fuck all that. Look, Tom Dart, you want our vote? You want the black vote? You need to have a black sheriff deputy. Your deputy needs to be black. Well, who do you have in mind? Bob Jones. Nope. We want Trayvon Williams to be the sheriff deputy. Young brother. That's how you make moves. That's how you make moves. When was the last time when you have a police officer to come into the police department to say, I'm not coming here just to be the police, I'm coming here to be the top cop. That's my goal. I got my master's in criminal justice, I'm going to be top cop. How many black police officers are thinking like that right now? That's how they should be thinking. But you can't think that way when you don't have a father telling you to think that way. Hey, look, son, you going to be the police? Yeah. All right, but look, here's what you need to do. You don't just need to be the police. You need to be the police. That's what it is. That's how it should be looked at. You going to be a lawyer? Then you need to be a certain kind of lawyer. You're going to be the best criminal lawyer. All right, fine. You're going to be the next Johnny Cochran. You're going to be the next doctor. Then go and be the next, what's the black surgeon dude name? Ben Carson. That's who you going to be. You go be a doctor at the best hospital. So that you can get other black people in there. That's how you play the game.
Half the homicides in this country are committed by and against black people. Last year, there were 14,000 homicides, not talking about...
And screaming and telling me you're racist and he don't know me. You're doing this wrong. Or I can say, yes, officer, no, officer, or we done, officer.
Now, I want y'all to hear this. And this is for all of my people that say white on white crime exists, Latino on Latino crime exists, and 85% of crime that's committed by white people was done. I mean, 85% of white violence was done by white folks on white people. Here's this part.
And both of them are going to have drastically different outcomes.
Half the homicides in this country are committed by and against black people.
Did you hear that? That's a fact. So this is why there's a thing called black on black crime.
Last year, there were 14,000 homicides. Not talking about suicides, I'm talking about homicides. Half of them were black, 96% of them black on black of that 7,000.
Half of them were black. 96% of them were black on black. That's the difference between your 85% or white on white crime exists too. It's a narrative. No, it's not a fucking narrative. It's a fact. 14,000 homicides. Half, that means 7,000 of those homicides were committed by black people. Black people are only 14% or 13% of the population. Let's say 14%. Do you hear that? Half of the murders, half of the homicides were done by black people. Of those black people that did those, 96% of that half was 96% was black folks. So to everybody that says this is a narrative and it's a false narrative, black on black crime don't exist, this is why black on black crime is a thing. Hear that again.
Where's the Black Lives Matter people on that?
What happens with young black men?
Man staff is black.
A manhood, an officer. And both of them are going to have drastically different outcomes.
Here it is again. Listen to the numbers. This is why there is a thing called black on black crime. 14,000 homicides. Half of them, which is 7,000, was done by black people. That means 14%, and really you want to say 7% because the greater majority of that is males. But let's just say 14% of the population is doing half of the homicides. Half of that half of those homicides, 96% of them are black people doing it to black people. That is why there is a thing called black on black crime, because it's disproportionately higher than all other races.
Half the homicides in this country are committed by and against black people. Last year, there were 14,000 homicides. Not talking about suicides, I'm talking about homicides. Half of them were black, 96% of them black on black of that 7,000. Where's the Black Lives Matter people on that?
What happened?
This is where you would say crickets. If I had like a cricket, matter of fact, I'm gonna find me a cricket thing and I'm gonna download it and I'm gonna play that. That's what I'm gonna do. Cause that's crickets. Where is it? Where is black? And here's my thing. Somebody in my social media, one of my social media people, friends, they posted a thing about Black Lives Matter saying Black Lives Matter was started by George Soros and it was started to bring awareness about police brutality. It was not here to protest against every murder that was a black on black murder. And my brother, I was so proud of him making the post that he made to it. He said, then don't call the shit Black Lives Matter. Call it police brutality awareness matters. You call it something else. Don't call it Black Lives Matter. If you're not talking about black lives mattering when it comes to murder or police brutality, homicide, suicide, whatever, don't call a thing if you're not here to do that thing. That's just like me coming up with a group called Black Women Lives Matter. But I only talk about black women that's killed by white men. But the name of my group is Black Women Lives Matter. I only talk about black women that are killed by white men. Do you see how small of a percentage that is? So fuck the two girls that just got shot this past weekend since he got murdered. Fuck them. Because what matters in my group is that I only talk about black women that are murdered by white men. Not even white women. Even though that's probably like 0.0000001%. But I won't talk about no other black women getting murdered unless they were murdered by a white man. Do you hear how that's exactly what that Black Lives Matter sounds like? You call yourself Black Lives Matter. That's a broad title. And then when you have a disproportionate amount of black lives being lost, and you're saying that Black Lives Matter, then you are actually contradicting your entire title by saying those Black Lives Matter, but those don't, when you don't address those. The same attention you give to George Floyd should have been the same energy and attention that's given to 104 black lives, pretty much, damn near, that were lost in a weekend in Chicago. Same energy. And when you don't, you're contradicting yourself. I don't care what the hell you say. That's just the truth. You're contradicting yourself when you call yourself one thing and you don't do that thing because it's a certain group that's doing it. That's just like saying I'm a neurosurgeon, but I only do neurosurgery on black people. But I say I'm a neurosurgeon. Now, if I'm a black only neurosurgeon, self-explanatory. Well, why didn't you work on Tom Jones? Because Tom Jones is white. I'm a black neurosurgeon. I only work on black folks. Medical attention is what? Medical attention. Anybody that needs medical attention gets medical attention. When I take the Hippocratic Oath, it don't tell me to discriminate. It says do no harm. That means to everybody, do no harm. Not, just to certain people. Well, do no harm, but these Tuskegee experiment people, you can fuck them up because we need to see where this syphilis shit gonna go. No.
Happens with young black men, everything is susceptible to the question of your manhood. And what's going on in these streets ain't got nothing to do with my manhood.
Interesting.
If I'm gonna fight a police, I'm gonna fight him in a controlled environment, a court of law. I'm not gonna fight him on the streets.
In Baltimore, where Freddie Gray was killed, Freddie Gray died in a van. I shouldn't say was killed, died in a van.
Yeah.
You have a city that's 45% black. City council is 100% Democrat. The majority of city council is black. The top cop at the time was black. The number 2 cop was black. The majority of the command staff is black. The mayor is black. The AG is black. And yet here we are talking about racism. I mean, it's absurd.
All cops aren't bad cops. 99% of cops are really good dudes and women. 99% of the people I've met that are cops are dope. I have a lot of friends that are cops. But that 1%, that's the problem. And you want to give yourself every opportunity not to end up a statistic.
965 people were shot by cops last year and killed. 4% of them were white cops shooting unarmed blacks. In Chicago in 2011, 21 people were shot and killed by cops. In 2015, there were 7. In Chicago, which is a third black, a third white, and a third Hispanic, 70% of the homicides are black on black.
Did you hear that?
About 40 per month, almost 500 per year last year in Chicago, and 75% of them are unsolved. Where is the Black Lives Matter on that?
Percent. That's the problem. And you want to give yourself every opportunity not to.
To all of my black on black crime is a false narrative people, listen to this one more time.
To end up a statistic.
965 people were shot by cops last year and killed. 4% of them were white cops shooting unarmed blacks.
4%.
In Chicago in 2011, 21 people were shot and killed by cops. In 2015, there were 7. In Chicago, which is a third black, a third white, and a third Hispanic, 70% of the homicides are black on black.
70%. And I'm sure that's higher now, but 70%.
About 40 per month, almost 500 per year last year in Chicago, and 75% of them are unsolved.
Actually, that number grew because it's now 80% of the murders in Chicago are unsolved. 80%.
Where is the Black Lives Matter on that? The idea that a racist white cop shooting unarmed black people is a peril to black people is BS.
Black History Month you find
ridiculous.
Why?
You're going to relegate my history to a month?
Oh, come on.
What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? No, well, come on, tell me.
Well, I'm Jewish.
Morgan Freeman fucked him up right here. His response was that I'm Jewish. Last time I checked, sir, Jewish is not a race. It's a religion. it's not a race. It's black people, white people, Asian, Hispanic, and Jewish. You hear that dude? He was like, I'm Jewish. But you know what that showed, what it said to me? It just goes to show you how Jews separate themselves in everything, even race. They want to be that exclusive to where they're like, man, Jewish is a race. Damn that. Listen to this shit. He asked him flat
shooting
out.
Unarmed black people is a peril to black people is BS.
Black History Month you find
ridiculous.
Why?
You're going to relegate my history to a month?
Oh, come on.
What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? Well, come on, tell me.
Well, I'm Jewish.
I'm Jewish.
Okay, which month is Jewish History Month?
Right. There isn't one.
Oh.
Oh.
Why not?
Yeah.
Do you want one?
No.
All right. I don't either. I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history.
Abraham Lincoln.
And here's my thing to that. He's right, because black history should be taught by black people. I should not have some white teacher telling me about what my people did. I don't understand that. Do you realize that Jewish people go to Hebrew school? Greeks go to Greek school? If black history is so important, why wouldn't blacks go to black school? Where you go and learn not just about Booker T. Washington, and you just go and learn about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Nope. You go and learn about all black folks. All black folks. So yes, it's good to learn about W.E.B. Du Bois, and it's good to learn. It should be taught in a black school. I should have to go to regular school, and the reason why I'm saying that, what's the majority here? The majority of people here are white. I don't give a damn what you say. The majority of the schools, and the majority of people here are white, therefore the majority of the curriculum should be white-based. Fine. If I want to learn about black folks, I need to be taught by black folks about it. I don't need a white person or white school teaching me about me, us, where we come from. And to all of my conspiracy theorists, all of my woke conscious people, don't the history books lie about our history anyway? So why would we want white people telling us about our history when you accusing them of lying about the history, how they stole every invention from a black folk, from a black man? Everything a white man had ever invented was stolen from a black man first. Great. If that's true, why would you want it taught in the schools? Why would you want to get it or get that knowledge from a white history book? Just think about that. Why would we really want it just to be talked about in February? We shouldn't have to have a Black History Month. It should be taught every month every day to our children because we should be teaching our children about our history. That's it. That's it. When you look at Jewish people, they go and learn Hebrew. Hebrew ain't a class taught in a public school. They have to learn it. They go to school for it. Greeks, they go to school to learn about their history, to learn about their customs and their traditions. Why wouldn't we do the same thing? The only thing we learn about in elementary and public school about black folks starts with slavery. They'll talk about the pyramids. They'll talk about the Sphinx. We got all of its African features blown the fuck up off of it. We go right from Egypt to slavery. So my first introduction to me learning about who I am and where I come from as a people starts out with me being a slave. But then we talk about when we in jail and we locked up and we getting educated by the jail lawyers that we have a slave mentality. Well, why do you think that? Why do you think that? We should be the man. We shouldn't give a good goddamn what they teaching as far as history in school, because we should be teaching the history to ourselves. My kid is not going to learn about who invented the cotton gin from his teacher. He going to learn it from me, his daddy, her daddy. There's too much information in this world. There's too many ways to access the information that's available in this world for us to have to depend on the white school system to teach our children about us. But why do we do that? Why do we talk about the school? Because it takes the responsibility off of us. All they teach us in school, all they talk about in school is what? Martin Luther King, non-violent. So you're teaching us that we were slaves, and then you teach us not to be violent, but then when we get grown, you want us to fight at all any means necessary and to fight for our rights. And not to mention, mind you, the two staples, the two cornerstones of Black history were killed. So now you're telling me you got one guy who was like, by any means necessary. You got another guy who started out saying non-violent. Both of those dudes get killed. What do you think I'm going to do? You think I want to be the next Martin Luther King? You think I want to be the next Malcolm X? Hell no, them niggas got shot. Them niggas got shot. Why would I want to be them? Why would I want to pick up their mantle? Nat King Cole, he was killing white folks. Nat King Cole was killing the slave masters. I'm sorry, Nat Turner. Nat Turner killing the slave masters. What happened to him? He got killed. Just saying. When you think about what it is that we are letting our kids, because school is nothing, when you're talking about public education, it's nothing but programming. It's indoctrination. That's it. What do you want to program your kid with? Do you want to program your kid with what goes on in the country that they live in? Yeah, you do. You want them to learn the shit and learn what the game is, but you also want to give them their own sense of self and their own cornerstones, which needs to be set by us, not them. Not somebody else. There's nothing wrong with having the pride of your own people and you being the ones that instill that in your own people. That's why white people do it.
As my colleague said, fought a war to preserve the Union. That republic allowed for the people of the United States, under our Constitution, to amend it, therefore removing slavery, and then moving forward to the Voting and Civil Rights Act and also the suffrage movement for women.
At the same time, and you would say it as strong as anyone, it's no excuse for bombing and destroying your own neighborhood. And burning down wherever it's happening. Burning down storefronts and stores that people
with mobs is how they get turned into that.
Yeah.
What's to be gained? You know, you stop for one split second to think. Burning and looting doesn't help you in any way.
I understand y'all upset, but like it was already said, I doubt y'all and y'all half as upset as I am. So if I'm not over here wilding out, if I'm not over here blowing up stuff, if I'm not over here messing up my community, then what are y'all doing?
I will always. Now, this was my other part that I loved about this. Because so many people was posting Martin Luther King saying a group of people that riot is the voice of the unheard. The reason why people rioting because you ain't listening to them. Listen to this.
Continue to say that riots are socially destructive and self-defeating. I'm still convinced that non-violence is the most potent weapon available to oppress people in their struggle for freedom and justice. I feel that violence will only create more social problems than they will solve.
Let's switch it up, y'all. There, y'all upset.
I feel that socially.
Let's hear that one more time.
But like it was already said, I doubt y'all and y'all half as upset as I am. So if I'm not over here wilding out, if I'm not over here blowing up stuff, if I'm not over here messing up my community, then what are y'all doing?
I will always continue to say that riots are socially destructive and self-defeating. I'm still convinced that non-violence is the most potent weapon available to oppress people in their struggle for freedom and justice. I feel that violence will only create more social problems than they will solve.
You niggas need to stop looting and shooting and rioting. That's what you niggas need to stop doing, is what he's saying. That's it and that's all. And that's why I've been saying lately, niggas love to lie. They love to tell just that part that will forward their narrative. That's new. That's the hot word, narrative now. Whatever niggas say, oh, he said this piece. Okay, yes, he said that, but that wasn't the whole idea to what he was saying. That wasn't his intention, was to say, yeah, see, he's telling us we should be rioting. He's telling us that because we ain't being heard, we supposed to tear shit down. Nope, that's not what he was saying. He was just basically making a statement as to why sometimes that happens. But he wasn't condoning the shit.
Switch it up, y'all. Let's switch it up. Do this peacefully. Please. My brother moved here from Houston, and I used to talk to him on the phone. He loved it here. He started driving truck. He was good. So I highly doubt. No, I don't know. I know he would not want y'all to be doing this.
So I will continue to condemn riots and continue to say to my brothers and sisters that this is not the way. Continue to affirm that there is another way.
Did he just not condemn the very thing people were trying to say he condoned? I would say yes, he did. Yes, Brian was right on that. He was right. Yes, he was. Now, I'm going to move into this last piece, and this is about us as niggas using the N-word.
week, Northwestern had this concert with Lil Uzi Vert. He uses the N-word profusely, like a ton, and there was an email sent out to students who went to this concert saying, you don't have a right to use this word, which I 100% agree with. Like, as a white person, I don't have any right. I haven't, until reparations are paid, until there's some sort of giving back, there's no right. But what do you say to, I don't know what to do when I hear my friends using this word in a song. I don't know what to do when it's all the time.
Words don't have meaning without context, okay? My wife refers to me as honey. That's accepted and okay between us. If we were walking down the street together and a strange woman referred to me as honey, that wouldn't be acceptable. The understanding is I have some sort of relationship with my wife. Hopefully I have no relationship with this strange woman. When I was young and I used to go see my family in Philadelphia where my dad was from, they will all call him Billy. His name is William Paul Coates. No one in Baltimore called him Billy, and had I referred to my father as Billy, that probably would have been a problem. That's because the relationship between myself and my dad is not the same as the relationship between my dad and his mother and his sisters who he grew up with, right? We understand that. It's the same thing with words within the African American community, or within any community. My wife, with her girlfriend, will use the word bitch. I do not join in. I don't, say, hey, I don't do that. I don't do that. And perhaps more importantly, I don't have a desire to do it. You understand? A while ago, Dan Savage was going to have this show that he was going to call Hey Faggot. I'm not going to yell faggot at Dan Savage. That's not my relationship with the LGBT community. And I understand that, and I'm okay with that. I don't have a desire to, yell out the word, faggot. I just don't have that. The question one must ask, if that's accepted and normal for groups of people, we understand that, it's normal, actually, for groups to use words that are derogatory in an ironic fashion. Why is there so much hand-wringing when black people do it? Black people are basically, however you feel about it, they're not outside of the normal rules and laws for humanity. I had a good friend who used to have this cabin in upstate New York, which he referred to as the white trash cabin. He was white. I would never refer to that cabin. I would never tell him I'm coming to your white trash cabin. I just wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? I think you understand why I wouldn't do it. The question one must ask is why so many white people have difficulty extending things that are basic laws, of how human beings interact to black people. And I think I know why. When you're white in this country, you're taught that everything belongs to you. You think you have a right to everything. You have a right to go where you, and you're conditioned this way. It's not, because your hair is a texture or your skin is light. It's the fact that the laws and the culture tell you this. You have a right to go where you want to go, do what you want to do, be however, and people just got to accommodate themselves to you. So here comes this word that, you feel like you invented. And now somebody will tell you how to use a word that you invented. Why can't I use it? Everyone else gets to use it. You know what? That's racism that I don't get to use it. That's racist against me. I have to inconvenience myself and hear this song and I can't sing along? How come I can't sing along? You know what I mean? And I think, for white people, I think the experience of being a hip-hop fan and not being able to use the word nigga is actually very, very insightful. It will give you just a little peek into the world of what it means to be black. Because to be black is to walk through the world and watch people doing things that you cannot do, that you can't join in and do, And so I think there's actually a lot to be learned from refraining.
Here's my problem with this, and I wanted to let that play just so that you guys could hear it. Number one, when he started out talking about using the word bitch, using the word honey, those are words that, number one, honey is not a derogatory term. And there are plenty of words that are considered words or terms of endearment that are okay and acceptable in certain certain situations. Honey is a term that people use all the time. So even if you have a problem with it, you can't have a problem with a woman saying, hey, how you doing, hon? Hey, how's it going, honey? Because that's a part of our language. And in some cultures and in some areas, like in the South, they use honey as just a term of saying, hey, what's up, buddy? Hey, guy. Hey, friend. Hey, partner. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. So just because your wife would have a problem with another woman calling you honey, it doesn't seem, it's not out of the ordinary. You may not like it personally, but if you were single, that woman would not, it wouldn't be a problem with you being called honey. That's just a fact. If you were married and you got on a wedding ring, yeah, maybe a woman should be a little bit more observant and not do that, especially if you're with your wife, because that could be perceived as disrespect to her, but it is not out of the ordinary. And honey is a term of endearment. Just because a woman calls you honey, that doesn't mean, or a man calls you hun, or a man calls you honey, or a woman calls, that don't mean that I want to sleep with you and that I'm together and you my boo and you my baby. That's not what it means because of context. It's just like if somebody says dear. If a man says, hey, listen, dear, let me try to explain this to you. That don't mean you my wife. In some cultures and in some areas and in some groups, it's just a term of endearment. Like buddy, homie, partner, my nigga. It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. So he's wrong as shit at that. Brother Tanishi, Tanishi, I think that's how you pronounce it, Tanisi. He was wrong with that shit.
Concert with Lil Uzi Vert. He uses the N-word.
This shit is preposterous. Number one, white folks came up with the word nigger. Nigger initially came from Niger, the people of Niger, Nigerians. That's where it came from. That's where it's rooted from. Now, I ain't going to go all deep into the etymology of the word and get talking about nagus and all of that stuff, but I'm just saying that's where it came from. But the derivative of that word, nigger, came from white folks. It was a dehumanizing term. It was a term that was used to dehumanize us because they called us that because we were property. Plain and simple. That's what it was. So the fact that that's what it was, all right, that's what it was. You can't go back in history and change that. So that's just what it is, and what it meant then is what it meant then. However, as time has progressed and as culture has evolved, good, bad, or indifferent, it's still changing. If that word is considered a bad word now, if that word is considered a negative word, it should not be used by no one. You can't say, I can say this word, I can rap this word, I can sing this word, I can do whatever I want with this word because I'm black. You can't say this word at all. That's asinine. It's idiotic. It makes no sense. And shout out to Tommy for the one that actually made me realize what the fuck I had even been in agreement with for years. That's our word now. Motherfucker, don't nobody own a word that's a bad word, and then the only people that can use the bad word is us because we feel it ain't bad. That's stupid as fuck. That's just what it is. It's stupid to think that. Hold on one second. It's stupid to think that. So when you're talking about saying, well, we using this word and we the only ones that can use this word, how? If it's a bad word for me, it should be a bad word for you. Why? Because you should be teaching me that it's a bad word not to say. How dare you tell me it's a bad word not to say as you saying? If that's not the definition of hypocrite, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. There is no clearer definition or example of what a hypocrite is besides using the word nigga. Like Paul Mooney say, I say nigga 25 times a day. It keeps my teeth white. Nigga, 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 nigga. And it was like once Tommy explained it and I understood that, I said, well, damn, does this word really offend me? And if somebody of another color calls me that word and I'm offended, then why would I be okay if somebody who looks just like me used that same word? The familiarity of a word should have the same effect, period. If it's offensive, what he was doing, which is where I disagree with him, where he's wrong, is that he's trying to compare a term of endearment based on relationship. That's different when you're talking about a term of endearment. When you're talking about a negative term, period, it shouldn't matter who's calling you that. It shouldn't be okay for nobody. Like I said, as a man, I don't like no man calling me a bitch. I just don't. Don't call me no bitch. Don't call me no bitch. I'm just saying, I know what a bitch is. It's a female dog. I am not that. Well, how many different terms you want to come up with? Me and my bitches and all this bitch and now women doing that shit is stupid as fuck. If a man can call, if a nigga singing a song can call you a bitch, then so can a man walking down the street. If you get mad at a man that calls you a bitch, but you ain't mad at a song that calls you a bitch, you're a dumbass. Plain and simple. And trying to rationalize that, it makes no sense. What I'm saying, Popovich, is that either we should stop using it, and if we stop using it, then we can have others stop using it. As long as we using it, it's fair fucking game. Nobody owns a word, especially a negative one. And the case in point with that is Jews don't call each other kikes behind closed doors. They don't use the word period. So they go ape shit when somebody else does. Rightfully so. Hispanics don't call each other wetbacks. They didn't turn the word into a term of endearment to where bad mean good. They don't use it. So if you call a Hispanic a wetback, then you should get your motherfucking ass jumped on by some Hispanics. Right or wrong, it is now a term of endearment. You can say it's stupid. I am saying it's stupid because you're saying that a person can say a word and they have to watch the context and then they have to watch the skin tone. It's stupid. There is no other word that is being able to be used or not used based on skin tone. That's dumb as fuck. The fact that we've taken that and have made that hypocrisy, it's stupid and it's wrong. If nigga is a terrible word, if it is a dehumanizing word, we should not use it. If that's what it meant 85 or 125, 155 years ago, fine. If we gonna use it now and it's cool, then we should be cool with anybody using it. Kendrick Lamar actually pulled a white person on stage to rap his song and got mad at the white person for saying his own fucking lyrics. I wish I was white in that moment just so I could be like, motherfuck you. You done lost your fucking mind if you gonna pull me up on stage to rap your fucking song that you know got the N-word in it, and then the fact that I rap your song the way you rap it, you get mad at me and tell me I can't rap it? Do you hear that stupidity? I can rap it, I can sing it, and I can say it 1,000 times. I can then pull you up on stage to rap my rap, but you can't say that one word because of the color of your skin. And if you do, I'm going to check your ass. Exactly, Popovich. Now you get into another point that I was just about to make. Some black people don't feel that way with each other. Exactly. So that means we need to get our shit together and make a consensus. We either need to say, as black folks, we ain't using this fucking word, or we need to just say, it's fair game. A white person riding, you know, I'm going to tell you like this. If I'm walking down the street in the whitest of white neighborhoods, and a white person with two Confederate flags on the side of his Ford F-150 pickup yells out, "Go home, nigger. What are you doing out here, nigger?" I'm going to look and I'm going to do this. White boy riding by talking shit. And at best, they might get a, "Fuck you, white boy." You know why? Because I know that white boy ain't going to do shit. And if he do want to do some shit, I'm ready to do some shit. What you want to do? What you want to do? Is this what you want? This what you ready for? Let's do it. Because black, white, pink, purple, yellow, orange, blue, they all like doing this. That's inhaling and exhaling. That ain't a black thing. That's a human thing. And if I stop that shit, anybody gonna have a problem with it. Everybody wants to inhale and exhale. So don't fuck with me. Because if you talk some shit to me, I'm gonna talk it back to you. What you want to do, white boy? I stay in position to defend myself. I'm not one of them niggas that be like, "Ooh, I wish I had my gun." If anything, I might be like, "Fuck, I left my extra magazine in the glove compartment. God damn it. I didn't know I was gonna have to shoot 14 white folks today. Or I gotta shoot 14 niggas today. I should have brought my extra mag. God damn." That's what I'm doing. When you're talking about saying we don't want to use this word, we don't want nobody to use this word, that should be the approach to it. It's either that or it's game on. You don't hear Asian people calling each other slopes. You don't. You don't. They don't do it. So why do we do it? And I'm going to tell you why. It plays the game that we talked about earlier. What's that game? Checkers, not chess. Exactly. Tom Lee said Germans aren't going to take back Nazi and make it a term of endearment. They won't do it. It's a negative fucking word. Regardless of, there was a time when that's exactly what they wanted to be. If you was German and blonde, you wanted to be known as a Nazi. You wore your swastika with pride because that was a time where you did it. It was accepted. Now, you don't want to be called that. You might whisper that shit, but you ain't going to let nobody call you that. And you ain't going to say that shit around no Jews. Because you will probably get fucked up. because they're like, motherfucker, what the Jews did to us, we be damned if we let another motherfucker call us a motherfucker. We ain't gonna let nobody build that name up around here ever again. If they reenacted slavery tonight, tomorrow when a white person says, put these chains on, nigga, we wouldn't even be like, who you calling nigga? We'd be like, y'all serious with these chains again? Y'all gonna do this to us? How y'all doing this to us? We ain't gonna even be offended by that nigga word. It's as simple as just saying, make the thing, if it's a bad thing, it's a bad thing. Shouldn't matter what color you are, who can say it. It's the only word like that. Y'all do realize that, right? That's why that shit he was saying about honey, the shit he was saying about bitch. A woman who lets herself be called a bitch shouldn't be upset when a man does it. Or if a white woman does it. Just like the word cunt. Call a white woman a cunt. Don't matter if y'all cool or not. A man or a woman, call a white woman a cunt. They gonna lose their shit. They don't like that word. They don't like it. They don't want nobody to call them that. And they don't call each other that. Thank you, Amanda Kay. You call a white woman a cunt, them is fighting words. Now, white women are smart enough to know they can't kick a man's ass, but they definitely gonna hit the go the fuck off button. Say, shut up, you cunt. They gonna be like, what? Boop, go the fuck off. You son of a bitch, don't you fucking call me that, you call me that, you fucking... That's what's gonna happen. It's known. It's the ultimate insult a man will give a white woman. If a white man calls a white woman a cunt, he should expect at the very least to be spat on. Those are spitting words to a white woman. Seen it 100 times. Which is why they spit. She said it's the most degrading word ever. Which is why they make the most degrading gesture ever and spit at motherfuckers. That's just, I mean, it's a thing to where when you talking about that word being a bad word, then let it be a bad word. You're being a fucking hypocrite. You are literally, and hear me when I say this, for a black person to allow black people to call them niggas or the N-word, but you do not allow a white person or any other race to call you or to use the N-word, do you know what you're doing? You are oppressing that group of people. You are being a racist. Now there's somebody who just said, you can't be a black person and black people can't be racist. You're fucking wrong. I am discriminating against a group of people based on the color of their skin, not allowing them to do something. I am oppressing their freedom of speech because they are not the same color as I am. That is racist. So the next time you in an argument or you have a discussion and a black person tell you black folks can't be racist, bullshit to the back. Hit your bullshit button. Say, oh, hold on. You challenge a black person with this shit. Say, hey, and don't say nigga, white people. And I'll tell you now, be careful how you challenge, because I don't want no white folks getting their ass whipped because they going to say it the wrong way. Listen to what I'm telling you, because I don't want nobody getting their ass whooped. When you hear a black person tell you they cannot be racist, black folks cannot be racist, you ask them this. Say, well, can I say the N-word to you? Or can I call you the N-word? And when they say no, then say, why not? And they'll say because you white, and they'll say because you Hispanic, or they'll say because you Asian, or they'll say because you whatever you are. And then you say, well, if that's the case, you're telling me that I can't use a word because of the color of my skin. Just like people told you couldn't drink from a certain fountain because of the color of your skin. Just like people told you couldn't sit on a certain seat on the bus because of the color of your skin. Just like they told you couldn't go into a certain part of town because of the color of your skin. Just like they told you couldn't go into a particular restaurant because of the color of your skin. Just be like they told you couldn't do this particular thing, buy that particular thing, go and live in this particular area because of the color of your skin. That, sir or ma'am, is racism. You are oppressing my freedom of speech because of the color of my skin. Whether I'm white, green, or yellow, you're telling me that I can't do this thing because of my color. That is oppression. That is racist. And if they tell you anything besides, damn you right, they full of shit. Just broke that down, plain and simple. Undisputed facts. Redlining was racist. They specifically did not allow people of color to purchase homes or to get home loans, to purchase homes, to get loans to purchase homes because they were black. They would not allow particular groups of people based on the color of their skin to buy homes in these areas because they were black, which forced them to live in other areas that had rental properties or in housing projects. They forced them to. That's what they did. That is racist. They actually did not allow them the right to buy a house based on the color of their skin. That's oppression. That's racism. Which is why we need to be the ones to either be cool with the word nigga or not. And until we are, I'm cool with it. Even if a white person means it in the worst way possible. I fucking hate you, you nigger. Fine, man. I've heard the word before. I've heard you a ain't shit nigga. You a bum ass nigga. Nigga, you a joke. Nigga, you ain't shit. You a puss ass nigga. Nigga, you a hoe ass nigga. Means the same. It means the same goddamn thing. A nigga is a person, place, or thing. It's a verb. It's a noun. It's a noun. That's it. So it doesn't bother me. It does not bother me. I get it. It used to, and before I was enlightened, it would have, but it don't now. I can listen to NWA. Nigga, please. I treat it like a fucking disease. It's plain to see. You can't change me, cause I'ma be a nigga for life. It's plain to see. You can't change me, cause I'ma be a nigga for life. I'm a nigga, he a nigga, we some niggas, she some niggas. Wouldn't you like to be a nigga too? Come on, man. Come on, man. That's all. That's it. If we want to change the word and the usage of that word, if we want to keep a particular group of people from using that word, we got to change the word ourselves. It got to start with us. And that's why I ended this. That's why I put this part of the show at the end, because all of this racism, stopping racism, here's the thing. You want equality, power, equal rights. It all comes from ownership. It starts with ownership. We got to start owning some shit and coming together with the shit that we own in order to actually change the shit that we're in. Until we start owning some shit, we ain't gonna never be able to tell the people who do own shit what to do with their shit. Think about that. We are literally trying to tell the people who got the shit that they need to change the shit, and we don't have shit our damn selves. Like, that's really gonna change. Like, a motherfucker who got a YouTube channel, you trying to tell that motherfucker what to do with their channel when you don't even have a channel and you don't even own a fucking channel to do that thing that you want that other person to do with their channel. Somebody stop me when I'm lying. Do you hear how stupid that shit sounds? And it's like, my thing is this. Sometimes people say shit and they say it because of their feelings, which is understandable. But you sometimes have to look at what you say and really pay attention to what you say to understand if it's really valid and if it really is the right thing to say. Because we feel a certain type of way, we can say something that doesn't make sense because it's in our emotions. So you cannot like what I'm saying. You could wish or hope that I say things a certain way, but if you don't have your own platform to do your own thing, to say what it is you want to say the way you want to say it, how in the fuck do you think it's okay for you to tell me what to do with the shit that I have? I drive my car fast. You walking and you telling me that I drive too fast and I don't need to drive my fucking car the way I drive it. Motherfucker, are you insane? Now, if you want to tell me to slow down because of the or ask me to slow down because of the overall safety in a residential neighborhood, that's one thing. I get that because I'm endangering other people. I could physically hurt someone else being a reckless driver and driving over the speed limit in a residential area where there are people. That's the whole freedom of speech, but you can't yell fire in a movie theater. You can't falsely say or just shout out it's a fire or it's a bomb because people reacting to the words that you say could potentially hurt someone else physically, not emotionally, not make them feel bad, not make them feel some kind of way. It's the same thing. You don't get to tell me what it is I say, how I say it, and the platform on which I used to say it on when you don't have your very own thing saying that very thing you want me to say. You can't even challenge me until you're doing it yourself. And if you're doing it yourself, you wouldn't have time to try to tell me not to do that thing that you're doing. You would just get on your platform and say it and counteract it. But because you have such a big platform, that's why, hold on, motherfucker. This very large platform that I have, I built it. Brick by brick, click by click, sub by sub, show by show, content by content. That's what I did. If you want to counteract that because you feel it's wrong, do the very same thing your way. And if you're right, your channel will become bigger than mine anyway. You will cast a shadow over mine. But that doesn't happen, does it? No. Oh, you just doing this just for clicks. Clicks and clickbait likes. If that's the case, then do your thing the way you do your thing. And if you're the righteous one, you will prevail. But if you're not, then what does that mean? If you hate what I do and you think I should be banned, I should be tore down, I should be kicked off, kicked out, I need to be destroyed and taken down, why not use your thing and your platform to cast such a huge shadow that I won't be seen? There is no shine for me because your platform is blocking the sun. But you can't do that when you don't build yourself. There is plenty of content that I disagree with, just like with this brother Tanisi. I disagree with exactly what he said. Now, he could say some other shit about another subject that I completely agree with. But this particular thing, I disagree with it. And even to the white girl that was in the audience, who brought it up, she's so conditioned to not even look at the reality of what's happening and what she's actually saying, to where she's trying to figure out a way because she's confused and she don't know how to stop other people from saying it. Exactly. You don't get to control words that you yourself aren't fucking controlling. The word you don't want me to say, you're saying it. And you think I'm going to respect that? Fuck out my face on the internet. It's just like people who disagree. I can't tell you how many people don't like my content because I curse, because I use the N-word, because I say bitch, nigga, motherfucker, ain't shit bitch, ain't shit nigga. Plenty of people who don't like it. Plenty of people who I personally know who are good friends of mine, cooler than a motherfucking fan, that say, yeah, I can't watch that shit, man. You cuss too much. That's fine. All I say is my platform, my content is not for you. I'm trying to reach, if you are that intellectually astute to where this is offensive to you, that's great. You're on a whole nother level. My content is not for you. Because I'm trying to reach some of the borderline ain't shit niggas and ain't shit bitches. I'm trying to reach some of the borderline dumbasses where they teetering on being a dumbass or being a reasonable person. So it's okay if you don't like my content. Scroll by it, unsubscribe from it, or just click that almighty powerful X in the top right corner. But don't concentrate on the verbiage or you will miss all that heavenly glory. I don't know if y'all niggas gonna catch that, but yeah. Don't concentrate on the verbiage or you will miss all that heavenly glory. Never take your eye off of the main point, even when you dislike it. Even when you dislike the packaging of it, I should say. Never take your eye off of the package, even when you don't like how it's wrapped. So I hope that this video helps somebody become a better version of themselves. I am Brian Redmond. This is the Relationship Rehab. I am going to read these donations and then I am going to wrap up this show. I don't think anybody got my my references. Let's see. Shout out to my man Noble TJ. Hit your boy off with $5. Oh, that was from the Monday show. That's what's up. Also to Nathaniel Carter, hit your boy off with $2. Say happy Father's Day, my nigga. See? Thanks, my nigga. All right, and also to Monique Riley, I guess that's the name. I guess, or Monique. I don't know. But Monique Riley hit your boy off with $10 for doing a great job. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And that's it for that. Let's hit this young PayPal and we're gonna get up out of here. Where is all right? That's funny. The first thing to come up is please don't say my name. That's so funny. I got you. I won't say your name. I know. All right. I got $2 from my man David Teasley. Thank you for your donation, sir. This was from the other day too. Yeah. Shout out to Michelle Glass. Hit your boy off with $1. Thank you so much for your donation. And my man Terrence Cardwell hit your boy off with $3. Thank you, sir, for your donation. And please don't say my name. Thank you so much. You know who you are. For $20, I appreciate you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. $20. There we go. You guys, I really do appreciate you guys just taking the time to donate, taking the time to listen. Click the like button, click the subscribe button. Also to my man, Angry Man, hit your boy off with $2. Thank you, sir, for your donation as well. Hey, for those of you that are watching this on the replay or still watching it live, please, please, please click the like button, the thumbs up, click the share, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think what I'm saying is full of shit, or if I got a point, or if it made you think a little differently, because that was my point. All of this stuff that I do, I try to just get people to just think a little differently. We can disagree. We can have a conversation. Let's just be adults and let's just have a conversation about this thing, regardless of what it is. Respectful conversation is how we get better. It's how we change. Having it your way and having it my way, we ain't gonna get nowhere. And that's just like with this thing. Before I go, I'm gonna say this about this whole protesting, this whole movement thing. We're trying to right a ship, and what we're actually doing is overcorrecting. You know what that is? It's when you're driving a vehicle, and let's say like if you're driving a vehicle in slick conditions or in icy conditions, and the car begins to drift, you start to lose control. Well, if you overcorrect and turn the wheel too hard, you will get out of control. You will spin out, and you will become so out of control that you can't get control again. The thing that they teach you when you're sliding on ice or something like that, or if you're waterplaning, when you begin to feel yourself losing control, when you begin to feel yourself drifting, start to correct by just turning a little bit at a time the other way and slightly tapping the brakes. Because what you're doing is you're decreasing your speed gradually, slowly, and you're trying to turn the car to get traction again. You're turning the wheels. If you stay into that slide, you can even do that. Just tap the brakes and start to turn the other way. Because if you don't, if you just overcorrect and turn it too hard because you're scared, you will lose complete control and will wind up going somewhere you had no intentions of being, like in a ditch, like in the guardrail, like into another car. One of the worst accidents I've ever seen was like 100 and something car pileup that was on I-94 or I-96. I think it was I-96, I-94, one of those two. And the problem was there was a whiteout, and then the roads got so slick and glazed with ice that people couldn't even see the accident that was in front of them, and they were literally just hitting each other like they were showing it live. Cars just kept boom. I want to say it was a 200 car pileup. Boom, 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 boom. The whiteout was blinding them from seeing, and the fact that they were driving on ice didn't give them any room to actually stop. So they couldn't. Literally, the police was just sitting there watching it. They couldn't even get out and try to help anybody because they didn't want somebody to overcorrect and to go over into another lane, cross over, hit somebody else, hit the police officer, endanger them. They literally had to just watch the cars pile up. Nothing that could be done because you can't see and you don't even realize what you're driving on. But there are times when you can see and you can begin to feel yourself losing control. But when you correct, do it gradually, not hastily, not just reacting because you're scared. Because if you do that, you can not only endanger yourself, but you can endanger others. I remember one time I was driving back from Chicago with my wife and I. We were driving back from Chicago going to Memphis, and my wife was actually pregnant at the time with our first kid. And it was snowing, and it wasn't a whiteout, but it was snowing, and the roads had gotten bad in this little area on the highway, and the road had gotten so bad to where it was a glaze. It was icy. I mean, it wasn't icy, but it wasn't icy, but it was so much snow that it started to accumulate because the plows weren't coming through fast enough to keep the snow off the road. And it wasn't ice out. It wasn't salt out there. So we're driving on this snow. We weren't going too fast, but the thing was, she began to lose control, and she didn't cut the wheel too hard, but she lost control and couldn't get the car back. And what she did was she let it just go right into the ditch where there was nothing there but snow. And I'm behind her watching her do this. I see the car begin to drift, and I'm watching it. I'm like, oh shit. I see her begin to drift, and I see her then start to slide, and then I see her correct, and then she just went straight into the snowbank on the ditch. And when I got out, I slowed down. I didn't panic. I slowed down, got out, ran up to the car, and when I got there, everybody was okay, but she was shook, and her son was shook too, and he was crying and shit, and it was scary. But she was like, "I'm sorry." I said, "What the fuck you sorry for?" I said, "You did the right thing because you couldn't get control of it. You just let it go over into the snow where it's safe." I said, "There was nothing here. It's snow for miles. It's a huge snowbank." I said, "At worst, you would maybe damage the fender on the car." I said, "But you saved yourself. You kept everybody safe. Trying to turn the wheel to get control again, you could have lost it and got into a straight spin out and tow something up." And she was just shook up. She's like, "Oh, with the baby and everything," which was totally understandable. But she did a great job and didn't even realize. I'm like, fuck this car. We can fix this shit. And all we had to do was literally get them to come tow the car out. The tow truck came, pulled the motherfucking car out, and the car was fine, actually. But it was like the thing that may have looked to be the thing you didn't want to happen, it was still the best thing to do if you couldn't get control of the car. Well, let me just hit this snowbank. Let me just go into this snow because I know the car will stop. And then I know, hey, my husband's right behind me. We in the truck, so it ain't like I ain't going to have no way to get home and no shit like that. We'll be good. But this way, I was able to actually save myself from getting into a worse situation. One time I was in my truck riding on M40, that fucked up piece of road, and one of the worst pieces of road ever in the whole country is M40 in Michigan. I'm riding, it's glazed over, and I didn't even realize it, but I'm riding, and I started it's not only is it icy, but the wind was insane. I'm driving, and I see I'm starting to lose control. And the wind comes and literally starts to spin my truck. I do a full 360. And you know what I did? I said, I'm not going to try to swing this motherfucker back. I actually turned into it a little bit. And as I started to turn into it, I felt the truck get traction again. And then I slowly came back and was able to catch it again. And it was so insanely, it was, man, just God was just like, all right, little nigga, I got you. That's all it was. Because what I should have did, I should have just kept spinning and just went off into the ditch or hit a car. But luckily, there were no other vehicles around on either side. And I literally was just turning. I felt myself losing it, but that wind just pushed it on around. And I came all the way back around. And by the time it was going to go around again, I was able to turn into it a little bit and get back. Stroke of fucking luck, but it is what it is. Sometimes you just have to go with it a little bit, and the whole thing is just don't panic and overcorrect. That's my whole point to that. When you panic and overcorrect, you are guaranteeing yourself to be doomed. Guaranteeing it. Gently come on back into the thing. Take your time. Get back into it. pump your brakes a little bit. Slow down, think about what you're doing, and gradually do that thing. Even when it seems crazy, even when it seems like it's going to be bad, slow down, pump your brakes, and slowly begin to change your course. All right, y'all. I appreciate everybody for coming through. This was a great show. I feel like I got this off my chest. I hope that this color thing, I hope that this racism thing, this nigger thing, I hope we can just make some progress with this, y'all. Let's just get into a better position to where we're dealing with these things more, as opposed to being on opposite sides and going to war. Let's put the guns down, the knives down, and just walk to the middle and have a conversation. Because we may not have to go to war of this thing. Maybe we can just have a real intellectual, a real discussion, an honest discussion about that thing, and we can actually change it. I thank you guys so much. I hope you guys have a great night. Remember, I am Brian Redmond. This is the Relationship Rehab. Don't forget to also sign up for the United Guns of America channel if you have not. And just remember, I hope that this video helps somebody become a better version of themselves. Y'all have a good night. I love y'all. Peace. Hey, did y'all like my Nina Simone I had at the beginning? Ooh, I had that Nina Simone earlier today. Check it out at the beginning of the show if you joined late. But I hit her with that Nina Simone. Shout out to Soto Nation. Shout out to my brother Tommy Sotomayor and everybody else. Peace. Until next time, I am out. Hey.